What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another MultiVersus video. Today, Marvin came out. It has been 5 hours, just under 5 hours since Marvin came out. I've been playing him non-stop for the last 5 hours, so I feel like I have a pretty good idea of like how good Marvin is. Now, keep in mind, with Marvin specifically, this is just my day one impression, so his placement on the list might not be accurate if you're watching this video 2-3 weeks after I posted it. But for the rest of the characters, they got very, very minor balance changes this patch, so I feel like the balance of all of these, like I still have a good idea of what they are, despite having patch notes just came out today, because the patch notes today were like so minor that they're honestly not even, and most of them were just bug fixes. So yeah, we're gonna hop into a tier list for today, give the balance of all the current characters in this game. A couple important things to note before we get started on the tier list. It'll be super quick, don't skip it. First off, this list is just based on my personal experience with the game, so it may not be applicable to everybody else. I am a mainly 1v1s player. I do play some 2v2s. I think I have maybe like 500 games of 2v2s or something, but the majority of what I play in this game is 1v1s. So that's where a lot of the takes on this list are gonna be coming from. But at a normal, like probably around like the top 1000 area, that's where the majority of my characters float. So yeah, tier list is going to be around the top 1000 level, and top 1000 for the character, not top 1000 on the account overall. And then it's mainly based on 1v1s, but a lot of these takes still apply to 2v2s because it's the same character just in a different setting. But yeah, let's get into the list. We're just going to go in order from left to right and put them wherever I want to put them. First off, we got Shaggy. I'm still going to put Shaggy in the A tier. I think that he's in the higher A tier, partly because Shaggy is super easy to play. Like this controller right here, I could just put the controller down and watch it and it would still probably play Shaggy perfectly. And even though he's extremely easy to play, he's also extremely good. So I personally, Shaggy, it's never really sat right with me, the fact that there's a character as easy as this that's as powerful as he is. He's obviously not like a super meta S tier pick. I don't think he's been S tier for a very long time, but he's never been below A tier. Whereas in my opinion, for the easiest character in the game, he should be in something like B tier, but alas, he's in A tier. Next up, we got Batman. Batman's overpowered. Still, he's never been balanced. I don't know about that. I think maybe in the very beginning of the game, he might have been balanced, but even then, like, I feel like that was just because people hadn't really discovered his potential yet. I don't think that it was that he was balanced. It was just that people didn't really play him yet. If you ask any high-level player if Batman's balanced, every single one of them are going to say no. The only reason that some people aren't playing like Batman personally is because his grapple is broken. His grapple just has a lot of bugs right now and it's not working as intended, but Batman is just so obscenely broken that it doesn't really matter. Next up, we got Jake. Jake's sitting in S tier. Jake's also a relatively, I don't think that he's easy to play, but he's also not like super hard to play. Like he's kind of a good in-between area. Jake has everything in his kit. Like there's truly not anything that Jake can't do. Along with that, he has really good combo game. Like a lot of his moves just go into each other very fluidly. You can always tell with certain characters when they were like designed more thoughtfully, and a lot of their moves just seem to combo into each other very well, versus other characters that kind of feel like you have to really push to combo moves together. Jake is not one of those characters. All of Jake's moves feel like they were designed for each other. Like Jake has one of the most perfect kits I've seen in this game. I just think that he's truly a very well-rounded character that has very fluid gameplay, and because of that, he's sitting solidly in S tier. Next up, we got Finn, also sitting in S tier. Finn just beats everybody on this cast with speed. He's extremely fast, and then you can run Speed Force Assist and then buy the speed boots in the game, and once you do that, you're kind of just unstoppable. You can just run around the stage, and then even if you have a distance that you can't cross because a character has a very good defensive playstyle, you can just use your gem to teleport to them. The gem is one of the best projectiles in the game, if not the best projectile in the game, arguably, just because of the teleporting functionality. It also stuns them. I think a really good way to balance the gem would be to make it not able to stun people when you hit them with them. That was a complicated sentence. When you hit them, it kind of like knocks them back, and then you can teleport to it. So it's kind of just, it's a weird scenario. Finn's always been very good. Even in the beginning of the game, when it first came out, Finn was like the character. He was the meta. They've since nerfed him, but he's still extremely powerful. Next up, we got Harley. Literally the same explanation as Finn, basically, except you add on the fact that she has incredible map control with her projectiles and her little boxes she can place. She has some of the most stupidly like brain dead combo game in the entire game. She can just sit there and spam her attacks for the entire game and get so much value. Honestly, this list isn't sorted left to right. I could probably sort it left to right. At the very end, I'll do that. At the very end, I'll like take a look at the completed list and sort them left to right. For now, though, it's not, so keep that in mind. I think that Harley's the best character in the game, though, right now. For 1v1s, again, I don't think that Harley's that great at 2v2s, but in 1v1 specifically, I think she's the best in the game. Next up is Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman has literally the same explanation as Finn, just take away the gem, so she's a little bit lower on the S tier than Finn, but she's extremely fast, has very good combo game, so she's going to be in the same tier. Next up, we have Superman. Superman's going in the A tier. Superman recently got the only thing that is still like stupid about him, besides obviously the fact that he can just grab you and throw you off the map. That's always been stupid. But his ice breath, there was a previous problem where he could just sit on the corner of the map and just hold down his ice breath, and there wasn't really much you could do if you were playing like anybody on like the majority of the cast. There was a couple characters that could get around it, but for the majority of the cast, Superman could just sit on the edge of the map and hold down his ice breath, and there was just nothing you could really do. But they added a meter to his ice breath in this recent update. I think that was one of the most significant changes in the patch notes, so I'm gonna put him in like the lower area of the A tier. He's a very gimmicky and annoying character, right? Like everybody agrees agrees universally that he's very frustrating to play against and he's just annoying, but that's not the same as being overpowered. A lot of people think that like being annoying to play against equals overpowered. I think that's one of the main problems with Stripe. People don't like playing against Stripe and he's annoying, so therefore in their heads they think, oh, he's super unbalanced, but he's really not. It's just that he's annoying, and that's the same kind of situation that Superman's in. Nobody likes playing against him. He's dumb, but it's not really broken when you compare it to someone like Batman or like Finn or something. Next up, we have Steven going in the B tier, and Steven honestly has started, like, he's just slowly getting better and better with each patch, and it's not because of any balance changes. It's just because more people are taking the time to commit to getting good with him. He is a harder character to play, but at the same time, I think that his up shield move needs to be nerfed like desperately. The fact that he can just keep spamming his up shield over and over, like, it's so dumb. I would genuinely love playing against Steven if it weren't for that one move, because it feels like every time I play against a Steven, all they do is just spam that up shield for the entire game. It's just like, stop, like, please do something else. Steven has some of the highest potential in the game, but I think it'll just take more time before we start to see him even in the A tier. I think he will get there eventually, even with no balance changes. He could have no buffs, and I think that in like 6 months he could be in the meta. It's just it's gonna take a lot of work to get to that point with Steven. Next up, we have Raindog, also going in B tier. I don't think that it's the same like situation as Steven at all. Raindog's just not amazing. They nerfed his edge guarding where he could just spam his projectile over and over to edge guard, and that was kind of the only thing keeping him in something like A tier, even like arguably A tier. So I just think that right now he's sitting amongst the lower characters in the game, but he's still not bad. Like I think that you could literally just go through, delete C tier, delete D tier, delete F tier. The list would still be fine. I don't think anybody in the game is lower than B tier. We're at a good point in MultiVersus where there's no characters that are trash, but there's still a lot of characters that are too good. So once we even out that top layer, I think that the game will be in the most balanced state that it's ever been. Next up though, we have Bugs. I'm putting Bugs in S tier. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but Bugs recently got his, like, all of his loops restored. There was a patch, last patch, that caused a lot of panic amongst the Bugs community where they took away a ton of his loops, and it turned out to be kind of accidental, and it was just kind of the wrong solution to a different problem. So they put the loops back, and now he has rejoined the S tier. Bugs is kind of the same situation as Jake, where he just has everything in his kit and a lot of his moves just go into each other very, very well. I think that Bugs is another one of those characters that just has like a very, very well designed kit. I think that he's too strong. He needs nerfs, but all of his kit is just like, it feels thought out and they all work together very well. Next up, we have Tom and Jerry going in A tier. Some Tom and Jerry mains might disagree with me, but I still think that Tom and Jerry is not bad at all. He's definitely sitting in A tier in my opinion. Tom and Jerry used to be at a point where he was very hard to play, but very good once you mastered him, right? And then with some balance changes, some patches, now he's just hard to play, and then he's just good when you master him, instead of being very hard to play and then very good when you master him, you know what I mean? So it kind of feels like both ends were taken down a notch, and now Tom and Jerry players feel less rewarded for being very good, but he's an easier character to play. So in my opinion, Tom and Jerry is actually at like a perfect point. In theory, A tier is the like perfect balance of the game, and Tom and Jerry I think is perfectly balanced as is right now. Next up, we have Garnet going in B tier. I've actually seen like a surge of Garnet players recently. I think because a couple pros started to just like play Garnet and bring some light to her. I think that Garnet's on the cusp of greatness, but she just needs a couple more patches, like maybe 2 or 3 patches to push her over into A tier, kind of waterfall her up. The problem with Garnet is just that she can't really keep up with any of the fast characters in the game. She feels like a slower, like tankier character, but she's not especially tanky, so it kind of feels like she doesn't play into those strengths well. Like Iron Giant is a good example of a slow tanky character that's still strong. Garnet is a slow and tanky character that's just like not good. Next up, we have Arya going into S tier. Arya, again, keep in mind this list isn't sorted left to right. Arya, I don't even want to talk about Arya because there's so much to talk about, and I always get on like tangents and like rants when I talk about Arya. She's in a horrible position for balancing. She is the worst balanced character in the entire cast. Her entire kit is just up special. There's nothing else notable on her kit, but the up special is so unbelievably broken and like finicky and like gimmicky that it makes her S tier, and I hate it because I love Arya so much. I love Arya in Game of Thrones. She was my favorite character. I love Arya. I mained her in the beginning of this season, or in the beginning of season 1, and I really, really want Arya to be great, but right now she is just so stupidly balanced. Like she's my #1 complaint with the balance of this game, even more than like my hatred of Batman, which everybody knows I hate Batman. But Arya is just like, I hate where she's at right now in the balance, but she's definitely S tier. I don't think there's really any debating that at this point. There's no point in trying to argue against it. She's just, I hate it so much. On a more positive note though, on to Velma. Velma is sitting in A tier. I don't think that she's bad. Actually, I don't think that's true. Velma's going in the B tier. Velma's not really bad. She's just not strong enough in 1v1s. She's definitely a 2v2 character. She's meta in 2v2s. She's been meta in 2v2s. She's just not especially good at 1v1s. A lot of her moves, you need teammates or multiple opponents to really get that value out of her moves, and it feels like a lot of her stuff just can't really be taken like full advantage of in 1v1s. Next up, we got Taz going in A tier. Taz, a little bit like he's starting to get some recognition. I've been saying for a while that he's a little bit slept on right now because his edge guarding is insane and his hit prio is insane, and he's starting to get the recognition that he deserves right now. So I think that as more and more patches pass, he'll start to be slowly like more and more into the meta until maybe in a couple months he might even be S tier if he receives like no balance changes. changes. I think that his edge guard is actually too good right now, but that's a different conversation. Right now, Taz is comfortably sitting in A tier. Next up, we got Iron Giant. I'm going to put Iron Giant in S tier. For the past few lists, I haven't really known where to put Iron Giant because he's such a complicated character. In theory, he's just a meatbag that takes all these hits, but then in actuality, he's got a couple really, really broken 0 to death combos. I don't even know if I can call it a 0 to death. I'm just going to call it an instant kill combo. It's a nuke, basically. If he lands a grab on you anywhere near the edge of the map, you're dead. There's nothing you can do. No counterplay. GG. And he also just feels like with that shield, it makes it so much easier to land those grabs to the point where, like, as more and more time passes, I just dislike Iron Giant more and more. Iron Giant is another character like Arya that's just in a very bad position with balancing right now. And I feel for the devs on this one. I don't with Arya because Arya seems very simple to balance or rework and fix right now, but they're just ignoring her every single patch. Iron Giant, though, I don't know how to balance this character. Like, if I was a dev, I would sit and stare at his balance chart for an hour and I'd be like, I have no idea what to do with this character. I don't know how to fix him. And I play this game a lot. Like, I have, let's see, 280 hours played on this game. 280 hours played. And I have no clue, like not the slightest hint of how to balance this character. But right now, he's definitely sitting in S tier. We have a skin for Shaggy. I don't know why that's there. Next up, we got LeBron. I'm gonna put LeBron in A tier. He's not bad, and I actually think he's pretty good right now, and he's starting to get more and more recognition, sort of in a similar position to Taz, where he's been good for a little bit now, but people just haven't really started to pick up on it yet. Myself included, I've been pretty surprised by the amount of like really good LeBron players that I've played recently, and I definitely think that he's inching his way up in the meta. Next up, we got Morty going in the S tier. Morty is great for 1v1s. He just has another really good like all-around kit with a lot of game control. I think that's what Morty specializes in, is game control. He can just control the pacing. He can control the distancing of the game. He's very, very good in 1v1s. Next up, we got Rick going in A tier. He's sort of just a watered down version of Morty. Like he feels like he should play the same as, actually, I take that back. Rick is a watered down version of Bugs. That's the best example I can think of. He feels like Bugs, where he's got a lot of like control in his kit and he's got a lot of like really good all around kit, but Rick's moves don't work into each other nearly as well as Bugs do. And Rick is also harder to play than Bugs. So it feels like you're putting in more work for less value, whereas you could just play someone like Bugs. So I think that A tier is where Rick belongs. Next up, we got Stripe going in A tier. Honestly, I think he's in the very low end of A tier. When I sort it left to right, I'll show you guys. Stripe is just, so many people hate him. And again, same situation as Superman. Stripe is not OP. He's just annoying to play against for a lot of people. And I think that once, like, I think if we just let Stripe sit for a few patches, people will start to realize he's really not that good. It's just that he was really good when he came out, and I honestly didn't think he needed a lot of the nerfs that he got. I think that you could have just left him and people would have gotten used to him and it would have been fine. But I understand the community was so outraged that they were losing fights that they had to demand a nerf for this character. So it is what it is. They kind of murdered him. But he's still not like bad. He's just sitting in the lower end of A tier. I think Stripe needs a few small buffs and then he would be like perfectly balanced. Nothing major, just a few small tune-ups. Next up, we got Black Adam going in A tier. Black Adam doesn't really excel at anything. He kind of just feels like he's got a lot of potential, but he's not great at anything, you know? Like, there's just better options for whatever playstyle you're trying to go for. Next up, we got Gizmo going in. I honestly don't know where to put Gizmo. Next up, we got Gizmo going in B tier. They removed his popcorn, like all the value that comes out of popcorn, where you can just leave it on the map and then come back to it and use it at a later date. Like, you could just leave the popcorn and just have ultimate map control, and they kind of nerfed that a lot. So now Gizmo just feels very underwhelming. The only like notable part of his kit that makes him good is the fact that all of his moves, it looks like you're playing against someone that's on like 500 ping, because his moves kind of have like this delay to the hitboxes where it's kind of weird. Like the animations that he does are so just weird and like gimmicky that it's just annoying to play against him, but he's not really good. A Superman skin, a Wonder Woman skin, a Finn skin. Just skip over those. Last but not least, these are all just skins, so you can ignore those. But last but not least, we have Marvin the Martian. Now, this may be controversial. I actually don't really know what the community thinks yet, but Marvin is just, he's just not good. I'm gonna put him in B tier. Again, this is not sort of left to right yet, so I don't think he's lower into B tier. I think he's probably first place on B tier. Marvin is just, he's just not good. I want to love him. I really do. I want to love him because assassins are my favorite type of character. But Marvin just isn't, it's so weird. He's just not good in my opinion. Keep in mind, this is day one impressions. I have not like gotten a ton of experience with this character. I have like, you know, a few hours of playtime on him, so nothing crazy. I've just kind of like figured out his kit, started to make it muscle memory, figured out some combos, some counters. He just feels bad. A lot of his moves that are supposed to work in combination with each other, like they're intended to be used in combination with each other, are poor to use in combination with each other. And then a lot of his moves just are very weak. Like there's no other way to say it. He also is suffering from the same kind of situation that Black Adam is suffering from, where every reason to use him, there's a character that's better at that. If you want the assassin, like fast rushdown playstyle, you can go play Finn or Harley. If you want the more like setup playstyle, you can go play someone like Bugs. If you want the more projectile heavy playstyle, you can go play someone like Rick. Like there's just no reason to ever use Marvin, because everything that he's half decent at, other characters are much better at and much easier to play. So now I'm gonna go sort this left to right. I'll be right back. All right, this is sorted left to right. I'll give you guys a second to look at it. I'm just gonna leave it up in the background while I do like my outro, so you can just keep looking at it, figure everything out. Overall, I don't think that the game is in a poor state of balance right now. I think this is one of the better states of balance that we've had with an update coming out. But I do think that there is just too many characters in S tier. Like there's too many very, very good characters in this game. And honestly, I don't even mean very good. I mean too good. In a perfect world, right? A perfect tier list would be every single character in A tier. Obviously, that's not possible. That's never been possible. It never will be possible. It is too hard to perfectly balance a game. So there's always going to be a meta. There's always going to be outliers, both on the good side and the bad side. I like that this list is so contained to like 3 tiers. I like that there's no C tier or like S plus, I guess. This isn't like an unbearable state of the game though. Like when the game first came out, there was a lot of characters that were just game breakingly overpowered. And right now, I think that you can definitely jump in, have some fun, and play around and not get off like mad. But yeah, this is my tier list. Let me know if you agree, disagree. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. I post 5 MultiVersus videos a week, so I would love to see you guys in the comments of all the new ones. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace out.